Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pixel. In today's episode of our Create a Simulator series, we are going to be creating a trail shop, which probably is the most advanced thing we're going to be learning in this entire series. So this is going to be a very important and perhaps very long episode. So let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to be going over is what a trail is and how they work. So I'm going to insert two parts here, like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert into one of them a trail, like that. And then in each of these parts, I'm going to add something called an attachment. Then you can set these attachments like this. And if you move the part, it'll create a trail like this. And a trail can be customized inside by clicking on the trail and then going in the properties window. And you can edit the lifetime so that it lasts longer, as well as the color right here. There's also this thing here where you can create kind of like a color sequence, so it goes from one color to another color as it fades away. So that is something that we're going to be doing today, but we're going to be adding it to the character. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a script which when the player joins is going to put two attachments inside of the player, specifically in the head and the humanoid root part, which are two parts of a player that will always be in the player. And I'll show you guys how it looks later. But the reason for you doing those parts instead of something like torso, which is something that a lot of old tutorials teach you to do, is because now that R15 and Arthro is out, there's no such thing as torso. R6 is the only body type with a torso, and the rest of them have different ones like upper torso, lower torso, middle, things like that. So we're going to do a little trick here, which is going to go into starter player. If you go down here to the starter player folder, there's something called starter player scripts, like that. Click on the white plus sign as always, and we're going to insert a local script. You can go ahead and name this trails, and we're going to create a small script that, like I said, is going to insert two attachments, one inside the head and one inside the humanoid root part. So the first thing we're going to do is create a variable to represent our player, and then character, which is going to be player.character. If you guys tuned into my stream that I did maybe earlier this week or last week, I can't remember, or on the weekend, I was practicing with this and I was having some issues, but I was actually able to figure out the issue I was having, and it's working good now. But something I was having an issue with was this player.character. I have yet to test this, but this may create all of this. It shouldn't on the client side, which it shouldn't. Yeah, so we're gonna test that later, see how it is, and maybe we'll change it. So then we're gonna do if not character or not character dot parent, then character equals player dot character, player dot character added weight. So what this does is we're going to define this variable, and in scripting, it'll go through the script, and when you get an error in the output, it's going to be like, if this doesn't exist, it's going to say error, this doesn't exist. But in the script, if you put if it doesn't exist, or if it doesn't have a parent, meaning that it doesn't exist in the game at all, then we're going to do character. We're going to assign a new value to this variable, and it's going to be player.character added weight. So it's going to wait till the character is added. So that is something that is pretty cool. Then we're going to create two more variables, which we're going to do we're going to be creating attachments, like I said. So instance that new attachment, and then do character, wait for child, head, like that. And then you can go ahead and copy this and put it for our second variable here. But instead of head, we're going to put humanoid root part. And then we're going to change the names to AT1 and AT2. So, to test this out, you can go ahead and click on the test button, that's what it's called, and we're going to test our thing. Alright, and now we're in game, so we can go ahead and test it to see if it's working. If you go into workspace, then you'll see your character. If you open it, go to humanoid root part and head. There should be AT2 and AT1. So it's working perfectly. And now what we can do is get to work on our actual UI for our shop. So what we're going to do is go into our main GUI, what we have been working with. Actually, I think there was a setting I wanted you guys to put on to auto convert all UI elements to scale size. It's in here. So it'll automatically do it to everything, so you don't have to keep pressing scale for everything. So once you do that, go over here to text button. By the way, this plugin will be in the description. If I somehow forget, it'll be in the description of episode 2. Oh, it's something I did move all of these up like this. Then you can throw in our button. I think I'm gonna make it the same size as our prestige button, just to keep it relatively the same. And then I think, yeah, I'm gonna do a nice red color like that. And as always, give it a border. And that is our button complete. Wait, not really, actually. Okay, we can name it shop button, so we know what what it's called when we're using a script or whatever. And then we have the text, which cannot forget about. Change this to that. Text scaled on. Text stroke transparency. Boom. And then you can just name it shop, like that. So we got our shop button. And now we're going to insert a couple things. So this is where I feel like I'm going to get tons and tons of comments about, oh, this is not working, this is not working. So I'm going to try to explain everything as good as I can so you guys understand how everything works. So if we go like this, I'm going to drag this to the middle. My size, it doesn't really matter, just make it as big as you want. Our shop frame like that. Then you're gonna give it a color. So this is gonna be the background of your shop, and I've already done red for the button, so might as well do red for the actual shop. Now I'm gonna add a border like I always do. Looks good. And then name this frame shop frame. So the difference between a frame, text label, text button is kind of obvious. Text button, it's a button, you can click it. Text label, it's just a label with just text, so it just displays things. And then a frame is used to store lots of things. So this is basically its own screen, if you know what I mean. So see, I added this this frame into our GUI, and you can move it around the screen. If I put this button, which is positioned correctly to appear here on our screen, it would appear in the same relative location on our frame. So put that in our little GUI here. We have a frame, and now we're going to insert another frame, but this one is going to be a scrolling frame like that. It should be here. It should be here, because if you made sure to turn on this setting, like I said, you should have anchor point 0.5, just making sure that you won't have any issues. And then we're going to put it inside like this, but don't put it right up to the edge. You can put this, no, yeah, don't put it right up to the edge because we're going to do something pretty cool. So we're going to do background transparency 1, so it's invisible. And then border size pixel is going to be 0. So now it looks like this. Doesn't that look pretty cool? You can name the scrolling frame holder. Go down here and then we have the scrolling bar image color. You can change this to whatever you want. I'm going to change it to black, maybe gray actually. There's a lot of things here. And then we have canvas size. So canvas basically means how far you can scroll. So by default, it's 2. If you change it to 3, you can see the scroll bar gets a little shorter. Actually, I'm thinking it'll look pretty cool if you could like have this there, so it kind of differentiates where it is. So this is gonna hold all our buttons. Just make it look good like that. Then I'm actually gonna make this black like that. Okay, I'm gonna try to, okay. Oh, you can't see it now. Okay, I think that looks good. So now what we're gonna do is you're going to add something called a UI grid layout. So these are something that's new, and these are called oh, they're just called their name, I guess. I was gonna say these are called constraints. I don't know why I thought of that, but it's basic. There's a couple of these. It kind of edits your thing. So we have grid, padding, layout, scale, size, things like that, which kind of automatically do things for you. This grid layout is going to create obviously a grid for us for our shop. This came out in, I said recent, but it was like a couple years ago, basically recent, and is very helpful. So if we insert a button, it's going to automatically position it and the size. So in here, there's these things that say overridden because we cannot edit it and it's overridden by this. So you have to go in here and then edit this. So if you scroll up, there's appearance and we have cell padding, which means the distance between buttons. So you can add a couple buttons in here just to get an idea. I'm actually going to make the buttons wider. I suggest making them the same so they're square. And then I'm going to edit the padding so that it is so that it looks better. I don't really like that. 45. No, I don't like that either. Okay. So you could do, and I also suggest making the padding the same too. If you're having issues with the sizing, you can just see, I wanted to have it this size, but the only way to fix it is yeah, okay, we're just gonna extend that just a little bit like that, and then that's good. So you don't need all of these buttons, by the way. We're only going to be working with 2 today. But before we begin, go over here to replicated storage, and we're going to insert a folder. This folder is going to be called trails, like that. And something I just remembered is this whole system should properly create a trail, but this trail is only going to be on client, which means it'll only be seen by the player. If you guys really want, I can make a 3.5 episode basically and teach you guys how to make it on the server, but for the purpose of the main series or whatever, we're going to be doing it on just the client. So stay with me. We have our 2 buttons. And you can go ahead and just edit the actual buttons. You can edit the appearance. So I just want them a little less gray. No border. And I'm gonna do the same thing but with black. I'm actually not gonna make it that, or not gonna put that on. Boom. I'm trying to remember what I did. Okay, I did white with black aligning like that. Okay, I think. All right, and then we're gonna name the first one. These are just gonna be our 2 examples. So name the first one fire, and the second one water, like that. And then you can change the text to also say that fire, water. I'm actually not really liking this at all. I feel like you can make the color anything you want, honestly. Kind of want something nice to contrast it, but I'm gonna make it yellow. I like that. Alright, so now that we have that, this is the hardest part of this tutorial. And this is basically the shop handler, which is what we're going to call it. So insert a local script here into our shop frame. Not inside holder. Name it shop handler. So this is the longest script probably of the series. Maybe not. It's going to get way longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this script inside of the description. There's going to be a time code on the screen about right now. And you can go to that time to skip this whole process if you're just going to copy the script and put it in. Or if you want, I'm going to go through and explain the entire script in case you're actually wanting to learn. So go inside the description, pull up the script, and it should look like this if you want. But I'm not going to type it because that's a lot. I'm just going to go through and explain. It should only take a couple minutes, but it's not that hard. So we have our variables. We have the holder frame, which is representing this. We have replicated storage, and then we're going to use this service to find our trails folder here. Then we have our player and character. Boom, like that. Same as our trails script that we did before. Now we're using something new that you probably have not seen, at least in this series, which is called for IV in pairs. Basically, in this case, basically, where this is like index, like this. So this represents the number. Well, in this case, we're doing get children. So what this does is it goes through and gets all the children, basically meaning everything inside of our holder frame, like this. And then we're gonna, each object has a number according to how it's placed. So this is 1, 2, 3. And then V represents the actual object in the world. So now we have that. Then we're gonna do an if statement. If it is a text button, because what we're going to be doing involves text buttons, not grid layout. But the grid layout has to be inside of the holder frame. So we have to distinguish what is text buttons and what is not. So now that we have that, we do v.mouse button 1 click. Remember, that's the left click. So now we are in a function right here. Then we're going to do another big if statement. If v.purchase.value equals false, then, which we're going to insert in just a minute, 2 values, one called a bool value, which is going to be purchased, which can either be false or true, and then a cost value, which is going to obviously be the cost of the trail. So they're all going to be set to false by default. So if it is false, we're going to continue with this part of the function. If it's true, then we're going to continue with this. But right now we're focusing on this. So here we have if player dot leader stats dot points dot value is greater than or equal to the cost of the trail, then we'll continue. So if you have the equal amount of points, just in case someone does, or they have more, then we can continue and subtract the value from here and then change the purchase value to true. So we subtracted the cost from their points, made it true. So now they're going to click on it again, and we're going to go through that, and it's going to equip it. And then we're also going to insert a text label, which is going to be called status, so you know if you've purchased it or not. If you do not have enough money, it's going to just print not enough. Now we're going to talk about this else if. And obviously else if you don't have an if, it's just else, like this. But we want to do else, but we also want to do another if statement, so it's built in together. Else if it's true, then, and then we're going to do if not character. So if not basically means if this, what we're doing right here, is not true, then we're going to continue, which is find the name of our thing, because we're going to name our text buttons and our trails the exact same so we can find it. If this trail is already in the player, or if it's not already in the player, that's what this is, then we're going to continue, and we're going to go through the player with an IV pairs loop again and delete everything that is a trail, remove it. Then we're going to create a actual trail. Or no, yeah, we're going to copy it. So local trail just represents v.name. We don't need that, but I put it in there. Then we're going to have trail copy, which is going to go into our folder, use the name of our trail to find the trail, which we're going to put in a minute, and we're going to clone it. Then we're going to put that in our character and then change the attachments to this. So make sure you copy this into your thing, and I've explained it so you know how things work. It was just going to take too long if I typed it out. So now that we have that done, we're just going to continue with the rest of what we have to do. So we're going to insert 3 things. We need our bool value, an int value, and a text label. First, with the text label, size it to whatever size you want. Background transparency 0, scale it, and I'm going to make it green, or actually maybe red. It's very hard to change color labels, so we're not going to be changing it. And make sure the text is not purchased, because these are all going to be not purchased by default. Make sure you name this exactly status with a capital S after you have everything named like you would, or your property set up. Then we're going to set our int value, our name, to cost. Set the cost to whatever you want. We're just going to do 15. And then our bool value is going to be purchased. And leave this little checkbox blank. Now that you have that, copy this and paste it into here. And all you have to do is just change the cost to something else. Next, go over here to the shop frame, scroll down, and then click on the checkbox next to visible, and it'll turn it off. Now we need to create our trails. So like I did in the beginning, we're going to have 2 parts with attachments in each, like that. We gotta assign our attachments. And then what we're going to do is we're going to design our trails. So the first trail, which I recommend setting the lifetime to about 2, or 3, I mean. It doesn't take that long to go away, but it takes a second. So the trail is actually going to be good. Go into trail, and then we're going to set the color to what we want. Since we're working with a fire trail, or whatever trail you want, you're doing, if you want to change it to whatever you want. Instead, I'm going to do a trail color sequence. So click on the first little triangle here if you're going to do one, and then click the color box here. Set the first color, which in this case is going to be red. Then click on the middle here and it'll create another triangle, and then you can set this one to orange. Then click on the last one, change it to yellow. And now we have this fire looking sequence. So you go around, and as it fades away, it'll kind of look like fire. Something else that you also can do is put in textures, like a fire texture in here. I've tried it, it just doesn't look that good, but you can try it if you want. There's another value called face camera. It kind of makes the trail face the camera. It doesn't look really cool at all. So we're going to turn that off. Light emission, you can put 1 and it'll give it kind of a neon effect. You only can change it to 1, but I'm not going to have, maybe 0.2, because it is fire. It's supposed to be a little lighter. So now that we have that, copy this trail and paste it into your thing and name it fire, exactly how you have typed it in your holder thing here. Then you're going to go back to this trail and edit it to make it look like water. In this case, I'm going to do blue and whatever other color I feel like. So I made my water and I just made it like a blue to purple kind of fade, you know. I think it looks really nice. Again, copy it, paste this in there, and then name this water. And that is a tutorial almost done. We still have one more thing to do, which is our shop button. So we'll go into here and we're gonna do, make sure it's a local script. We're gonna do local frame equals script.parent.parent.shop frame local open equals false, exactly how I have it typed. Then we're gonna do script.parent mouse button 1 click, and then we're gonna do if open equals false, then frame dot visible equals true, open equals true. Else if this together, open equals true, then frame dot visible equals false, open equals false. So that is our simple script to open up our shop. So if we go into game, everything should be working perfectly. We can open our shop here like this. We shouldn't be able to buy it because we don't have points yet. So we're gonna need 15 points to buy our fire. Boom. Now it says purchased. It's still gonna be red. So if you don't want to have it to red to make it seem like you actually bought it, change it to something. What else? Now we have 5 points. As you can see, we don't have it equipped, but if we click on it again, we have it equipped. But like I said, this should only be visible on the client. See, if I move this person around, aka me, you're not going to see it on the server or anyone else. So if you guys want me to do another part about this, if you want everyone in the game to see it, let me know. Put it in the comments. I read the comments. It seems like I don't, but I read every single comment, I swear. So do that, and that should be it for this tutorial. We can get up some more points like this, and then buy our water. So now that we have that purchased, we still have our fire. You should be able to put on water, or now that we have that, put it on. It's not working. I'd even put it in the, where'd it go? Interesting. Hold on. We're gonna do a little debugging because I guess there's an issue happening. There shouldn't. So in our replicated storage, we have, oh. I don't know why both of them aren't. Okay, that was really weird. I just cut it and, and put it back in. But everything should be working now. Everything's been working perfectly. I don't know why it wasn't appearing, but it should appear. I can buy water. Click on it. Now we have water. Get up some more points. We can buy fire. Put on fire. And now we have fire. You can see it. And it scrolls too. And you should be able to switch between them with ease. Now we have blue on. Okay. So everything is good. We have our points. You have point system, leader stats, prestige shop, you know, all of that jazz. And to add more, like I said, keep this in your game so you don't have to keep doing it. And then just edit the trails and just look at how it looks, you know? Edit them, give them new names, create a new button with all of this. Keep everything in here the same except cost if you want it to cost more. And then just change the name. That's all you have to do. So let me show you an example of how you could do that. Copy it. Change this. Let's do acid. And depending on, it's going to sort it by ABCs for some reason. So in case you don't want that sort order, you can just put layout order instead of name. Then it'll put acid. It should, wait. Okay, now acid is on the end, which is Gucci. You can change this to acid. Go in here, change the cost. Let's make it 31, so much more expensive. And that's all you have to do, except create another trail, which in this case, I'm just going to make it green. Copy this trail, put it in our trail thingy bob, name it acid. We can hop into game, and then we can get our 31 points. Oop, 32. There, we got it. Click on acid, and now we have acid. It is such a simple process, so that is something cool. It is kind of a cool shop. Maybe I'll make it into a separate tutorial because of how cool it is. I honestly can't believe, even though some of you may think I'm just an excellent scripter, this is honestly the first time I've ever made such a successful kind of shop going on here. The only thing we have to work on is data store because these won't save, you know, obviously since we're still with the tutorial. So that is everything for this tutorial, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is episode 3 of our Creative Simulators series. It's going very well. I'm getting very good support. So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, keep on scripting.